Hi everyone, I'm here at Patrick Henry's Red Hill in Brookneal, Virginia. Red Hill was the final home of Patrick Henry and the location of his final resting place. Patrick Henry was a lawyer, orator, voice of the Revolution, two-time governor of Virginia, and an all-around jack of trades. Now I'm going to pass you off to Lucia Butler. She is the staff archaeologist here at Red Hill.
Hi, so this is our archaeology project for this summer. This is the third archaeological investigation by Red Hill's in-house archaeology program that we started in 2023. And this summer we've been looking at a site on the Quarter Place Trail, which historically was where the enslaved population lived in the 18th and 19th centuries, and then later on free sharecroppers lived and worked on this trail as well up into the early 20th century. So we're looking at the site of two log cabins that we believe were constructed in the 19th century. They stood here side by side, hence why they're called double cabins, and they were here into the early 60s when they were probably demolished and materials were reused elsewhere on the foundation as part of the restoration of Red Hill. So we're looking into these cabins to learn as much as we can about the people who used them, what they were used for, and just the structures themselves. And then a little later in the after we're done excavating these cabins, there's going to be preservation done on the foundations, the stone foundations that you see here. Those stones will be restacked so we can better interpret this space. So what we've done this summer, we've excavated the eastern cabin down to the floor level, through the floor level, and found a really wide variety of artifacts, different household artifacts, lots of personal items, and again these were likely used by enslaved African Americans at Red Hill, and later on they were definitely inhabited by sharecroppers in the early 20th century. Most of what we found has been early 20th century artifacts. One of the questions we've been trying to answer is about how these cabins were used. We're pretty sure the eastern cabin was a domestic space. Up to till now, that interpretation has been informed by the hearth that was there and the stone chimney that was originally there that provided a heating source for the cabin before a wood stove was put in a little later in the 20th century. And the artifacts we found corroborated that. Like I said, we found lots of household items, glass, ceramic, and then personal things like beads and buttons. Some really interesting personal things too. We found a pocket knife, a metal lipstick tube, so things that kind of tell us a little more about who was living here and what these items meant to them. That's something we're going to look into as we analyze these artifacts. With the western cabin, which we're working on currently, we have a few more questions about how that cabin was used. There's no evidence that it had a hearth or a chimney like the eastern one did. So before the wood stove was put in the early 20th century, it would not have had a heating source, which has made us think perhaps it wasn't used as a domestic space. What we're finding in this cabin, we're finding less of a variety of artifacts than in the eastern cabin, less personal items, but still a good amount of glass, a good amount of ceramic, and kind of domestic artifacts that show us this was inhabited as a domestic space at least sometime in the early 20th century. So we're working on this site, and the rest of Red Hill staff are also doing additional research on Quarter Place as a way to learn more about people who lived here, who were enslaved here, and did a lot of work at Red Hill to make Red Hill what it is, whose lives were not necessarily recorded very well. We don't know, the daily lives of these people. We know some of their names, and we have researchers working to learn more about them and their families, their genealogies. Archaeology is another way we can learn about the enslaved and the sharecropping communities, and when we don't have those historical records to tell us about their lives. So that's been our goal here, just to learn more about these people who made up the life of Red Hill. It's important to tell their stories because they lived here and they contributed to what Red Hill is, and they are part of its history.